What's up, y'all? I am back for another video. We are here to finally review Scream 5, and man, I do have some issues. Um, this film, I wanted to love. I wanted to like it. And the thing is, initially, I was a bit more positive, but I just kept thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it with certain decisions that now I'm just full on. It's not a good movie. I don't think it's the worst movie in the world. I think normies will like it as like a horror movie. There's some solid kills and stuff, but man, it's not a good Scream movie. So I'm just gonna get right into it because I did another take, try to do another take, and my fucking phone fucked up. So I just want to get to it really quick. So let me get started. Then, like I said, this is gonna be a spoiler review, so yeah, there's gonna be a lot of spoilers. So the movie opens up. We meet Tara, and she gets a call from Ghostface, and I'll admit I did like this opening. This is one of the few positives I have. I did like this opening. It was, there's a bit of tension. Ghostface's Roger L. Jackson still has that great Ghostface voice. And that's what irks me about this film ultimately is I think this film could have been really good. And I just think, cause due to a certain direction they go when I get there. Um, but then, it starts, he threatens to kill her friend if she doesn't answer questions about Stab, and she even gets it wrong about who the killers are because she mentions only Billy Loomis. Then she gets to the door, Ghostface there, stabs her. He fucks with the locks, which I do like. I like that stuff. I do think that's how a modern Scream would go. People have like these smart houses or these locks where they can unlock from their phone. So I think it really works. But then turns out he didn't kill her. He stabs her a few times. Like the police arrive and he doesn't kill her. He stabs her a couple of times. This is where he meets Sam, who turns out to be her sister, and Richie, played by Jack Quaid, who I've seen him in a few stuff. I think he's a solid actor. For this movie, I think he's like the only actor that could work for a Scream movie. Because I'm gonna get to why. She gets a call that her sister was attacked. She goes down to decides to go down to Woodsboro because she ran away. Um, then this is where we meet Judy Hicks. We meet Judy Hicks, who's now sheriff of the town, who's the officer from the fourth movie, and we meet basically like the new core group of this movie. We meet Amber, who I'm gonna spoil is one of the killers. It just doesn't work because I'm gonna get to why. There's a lot of issues I have with this movie. We meet Chad and his boyfriend, fucking girlfriend, sorry, and his girlfriend Liv. Wes, who's the son of Judy, and I think that's it. Yeah, and Mindy Meeks, who apparently they're fucking nephew. They're the nephew and niece of Randy. I don't know how. There's an obvious race difference, whatever, but okay. Um, these new core group of characters just don't do it for me. They're all boring. And if you're gonna make Amber one of the killers, one of the aspects about Scream is you spend time with the people who are the killers. Billy and Stu in the first movie. Mickey may not have been in a lot in the second, but I think he's in it enough where you feel his presence. Roman is 3. Jill in 4. Jill and Charlie in 4, to be honest. You don't spend a lot of time with Amber, but she's one of the killers. What? And I'm going to get to the reveal, because the reveal in this is easily the worst in the franchise. And I had been saying for years, Scream has been that franchise that's been consistent. 3 isn't great, but it's not the worst movie in the world. And 4 I have some issues with, but it's still solid. There's not one that's like, fucking Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 or Jason Goes to Hell, but this isn't good. There's some the fact that Nev Campbell's barely used in it, she's only in it for all of 10 minutes. It's the scene you basically see in the trailer. It's that scene where she gets the call from Dewey, and then you see her again until I'll spoil. He dies, and I'll get to that. And then in the final act, that's it. She's not in it enough, and I don't think she. I love Sydney. She's one of my favorite. She's my favorite final girl, but I just don't think she's in it enough to justify her. She didn't need to be in it. I actually think you could have easily just done this movie with new characters because this just feels like a bait and switch. It feels like Force Awakens that, we're going to have Nev Campbell do all the interviews. She's in like literally most of the interviews. Her face is big on the poster. She was even prominent in most of the trailers. Why the fuck is she not in it enough then? Like, I'd rather her just not been in it. She's not ruined, which I'm happy about, but I'm also like, you could have just left her out just if she was just not going to do anything. So, but, so before I get to that though, I think I left off where I met with the new characters, and she has a summer fling named Vince, who they have a scene. There's a bit later where they're at a bar, and they're all like suspecting each other as potential suspects, and Mindy is basically like the Randy of the movie. Which, and I'll admit, she could be a cool character, but they don't give her a lot. She's just kind of snarky and gives the rules like Randy. But Randy actually had something else to him besides that, and I don't think she's terrible. It's just if you didn't have the legacy characters, you could actually focus on these new characters. Because I actually think you can do a Scream with new characters, where it's within the same universe. Sydney and Gale and Dewey exist, but but we're about these new characters. Why didn't they just do that? I don't know. Anyway, after that, there's a scene with them and Tara and Sam at the hospital really quick. Then they're at the bar. They have a confrontation with Vincent. He leaves. Vincent's like peeing on a wall. Then, hold on. You see something. Yeah, he's peeing on a wall, and he gets killed. I think his kill scene was pretty cool. The only issues with some of the deaths I have, there's no build-up. What makes Scream is the build-up, like the build-up to Casey's death. Casey and Steve's death in the first one. The build-up till most of the deaths. There was, like, you get the call and the taunting. This time, he just kind of kills you really quick, like, and it's almost like he's almost like a ninja than a serial killer. He kills Vincent, which the kill wasn't bad. It's pretty brutal. And they play like Red Right Hand before, which that's cool. A nice little callback. But then they just casually drop later in the film that he's fucking Stu's nephew. What the fuck? Why is everyone just all of a sudden related? When did Stu have a brother or a sister that was never mentioned? Like, this is getting stupid because I'm going to get to one of the biggest... Because this movie has soap opera writing, because this is another reveal. So Sam, back at the hospital, while Richie is watching, I think, Stab 8 on Netflix, she goes to, like, I think to get coffee or something, gets attacked by Ghostface. They taunt her with the family secret thing. And there's no chases. Like, there's just kind of, like, this chase was, like, really quick. Like, he's just, like, running around, like, the cafeteria, but then that's it, and then he disappears. There's no, like, chase scene. Like, how many great chase scenes were in the first one? The Casey Becker chase. Both Sydney chases at her house. The one at the party. Scream 2 had, like, probably my favorite chase, or one of them, in the franchise with Gale before, Dewey gets stabbed in that movie. Like, there's nothing like that in this. It's just kind of quick. Then this is where we get the retarded reveal that she's not, that her real father is Billy Loomis. Apparently her mom had a affair with Billy. What? Because throughout the film you see Skeet Ulrich as Billy in visions, or not in a vision, but like in her head. It is stupid. I don't get this. How is she Billy's? When it, the timeline doesn't make sense. People have added up the ages don't even make sense. When would Billy have had time to have an affair while being the killer and being with Sid? It just doesn't work. It just why couldn't you just have Sam be a new character? Sam's mom was just a student. Maybe she knew Billy, or she knew Sid or something. That's the maybe the closest you can get. You know, like Judy Hicks from in this one, from the fourth one, she knew Sid in high school. That's it. They didn't make her like related. This is so dumb. Like those Mindy and Chad being fucking Randy's nephew and niece. Like what? How is just everyone just related? I don't. I get this town is small, but holy shit. It's soap opera writing. You're my long lost illegitimate child, and the reason I justify it with like the Creed movies, but with the Creed movies, it's a reason for Adonis to exist, but then that's it, and that's the only one. In this, it's like five, like the random nephew, Sam being Billy's daughter, which I'm not gonna spend the whole time going off of, but that doesn't make any sense. So then, I think after that, Sam and Richie visit Dewey, who initially doesn't want to do it, and I think Dewey should have been the only maybe legacy character that returns. He's the only one that maybe makes sense. That he still lives in Woodsboro. Sid and Gail are long gone. Well, I think Gail kind of lives there, but Sid's gone. Why would you? And initially he refuses and stuff, but then messages Sid. He calls Sid, and this is where we get the scene from the trailer. And this is like the only time, and I guess it's revealed too. Sydney has kids, um, which that's cool. But the thing is, we don't even explore that. It's a mention she has kids, but they don't go into that. Well, what that would be interesting. Like, okay, like why didn't they have a whole scene where we meet her husband and her kids or something? I don't get that. Why did they only like just mention it just to? Anyway, um, so then he messages Gail, follows Sam and Richie to I think it's Mindy and Chad's house. Where this basically we get the rules of this film, which is supposed to be a requel, and this is where a lot of the already. I mean, I already kind of don't like the whole her being Billy's daughter thing. The fact they bring up like they're bringing up like the fandom being mad about like Stab 8, and it's supposed to be like it's basically a commentary on how fans reacted to Last Jedi. You know, they even bring up Mary Sue. It's like, get the fuck over it, guys. It's been 4 years. This is a Scream movie. Star Wars doesn't have that. What are you doing? Because they're building up to something, which I'm I'm gonna go off. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm just making sure my phone keeps recording because last time it just stopped. But yeah, like, why are we didn't like Last Jedi. Why are you bringing that up in a Scream movie? But anyway, and they're bringing up the kills are they're killing people related to the original killers and original characters. It doesn't make sense. Like that everyone's just related. It's just stupid. It's like you make this world small when Scream is supposed to be realistic. Not everyone is just related like that. Like what the fuck? So they kind of accuse Sam of being the killer, and she flees. And this is where we get another scene between her and Billy. Don't get me wrong. I like seeing Skeet Ulrich, and supposedly they de-aged it. It just didn't look good, but it was kind of weird. Like Blake, who usually comments on my videos, brought up. This reminds me of that movie Ghost Dad with Bill Cosby, and it really is that. There's one scene I'm gonna get to in the final act. Holy shit. Um, Sorry about that. So after that, Judy Hicks gets a call that her son's in danger, who's Wes. Who I will admit, this scene's actually really good. It does feel like Scream. It's like callback to Scream 3 where Stu gets a call, not Stu, Cotton gets a call from Ghostface. It's even like in a shower setting, and she's like speeding to get home, but then she ends up getting killed, which her kill itself was brutal, but why is he doing it in broad daylight? Like, and it wasn't even like he was hiding it. He stabbed her like in her parking way, basically. Like, why wouldn't Ghostface be smarter than that? Why is he like? I get they're trying to make him more brazen, but it just you're gonna just kill him right there where everyone can see you and you're human. You're not fucking Michael Myers. You're a tank or Jason, where Jason could kill you in public and can take getting shot at a couple of times. Anyway, he ends up killing Wes. Well, I'll admit this kill is pretty brutal. He stabs him in the face and like the knife's going through, which I like. I like the gore in this, but there is no build up and there's no chase, so it brings it down a bit because of that. So after killing Wes, um, Sam and Dewey arrive. We get a scene between Dewey and Gale, which I'll admit the scene was really good. It wasn't like Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher in episode 7 where there was no chemistry. The chemistry was still there. So they get one scene together. Sam realizes all the cops are there. She realizes, oh no, my daughter. I keep saying my daughter because I said that's the last take. Her sister is in danger. So Dewey goes with her to the hospital. Ghostface attacks because Richie's also at the hospital. Richie gets knocked out and cut on his arm. And Ghostface takes Richie's phone, calls Tara, and I'll admit, not Tara, calls Sam. I'll admit this scene is really good because Tara's running, and Ghostface, like I think he activates like his voice changer, and I do like the voice changer like in this, and I like him actually talking while he's taunting. Like I do like that. We don't really see that in the movie where he's talking in the Ghostface voice in the costume. Not like most of the time we don't see it from the other side. You just hear his voice. Because due to Tara being injured, he's easily like flips her and he taunts her. But Sam and Dewey arrive. They're in the elevator, just stalling for time. Ghostface gets shot. Seemingly, Ghostface and Dewey struggle for a second, and Dewey shoots Ghostface. Seemingly kills him. Kills her. I'll say it later. Kills her because it's Amber in the costume in this one. Because I'm gonna mention it later. Let's mention it now, but yeah. So Dewey thinks, oh, I gotta go back because I need to make sure the killer's dead, and it just doesn't work because I think because obviously this is building up to his death. Who I'll admit his death itself was fine. It did get a reaction out of me, but it is a part of me that is like, shouldn't he have been smarter? Why would he just go back and maybe you should have killed him at the final act of the film, not this early. I understand you needed to kill one of the big three, and it wasn't gonna be Sydney. It wasn't gonna be Sydney. I knew that for sure. Maybe it should have been Gale. Maybe I always said Gale would have worked better. And maybe you should kill Dewey in the beginning if you were just gonna kill him. I think it would have been more interesting if you killed him in the beginning of the film. That actually would have been ballsy if you did it like that. But he gets killed, and I'll admit it was and I do like the killer saying, it was an honor. I do like that. That was a nice little taunt. Then Sydney, after hearing the news, arrives, and I'm not saying Neve Campbell phoned it in, but her character in this movie just didn't do it for me. Sydney is a character she's my favorite final girl, but she just doesn't do it for me in this. Should have just left her out if she was just not gonna add anything. She has an okay scene with Gale at the hospital, which I'll admit that was cool, but why? I think, and then you bring up she has kids, but you don't go with it. We don't get more on that. She mentions once, oh, I'm gonna not stop until he's dead because I have kids. That's it. That's the most we get. It would have been interesting to actually hear about her kids and her talk about them and her husband and get her like back to what she's kind of been doing the last few years. Nope. I get you gotta focus on the new. Then why bring her in the movie when Nev Campbell's doing most of the marketing? This is a bait and switch. She was literally in almost all the marketing. She's a big part of the poster for this movie. It's disappointing. I don't know. It's Force. I feel Force Awakened. I really do. So, um, they try to convince Sam, who decides, and I do like the idea of I'm gonna leave because I'm gonna do what most people don't do in these movies and leave. She refuses to kind of help anymore and get involved in the killings, but then they decide to stop somewhere, Richie, and it turns out the Amber's house, which turns out to be Stu Mocker's house, which this was cool. And they're throwing a party for Wes, which is like an ode to Wes, but I don't think they fully honored Wes Craven's legacy in this movie. I just, So we get a few scenes between Amber and Mindy at the house. Chad gets killed because Chad didn't want to have sex initially with Liv because he thought she was the killer. She storms off. He follows her, but Ghostface, I think he either calls him or he gets attacked. And his kill was pretty brutal. And then um, I think Richie and Sam and Tara arrive. They stop the party so like the other kids leave. Um, Mindy, while watching Stab One, we get like the call back to the scene where Randy's like screaming, like not screaming, but like behind you while he's behind you, Jamie. That scene, and then she turns around. Ghostface attacks her, but Sam manages to take him out, and Ghostface disappears. And then they all are accusing each other, and then this is where it's revealed Amber is one of the killers. She shoots him. She shoots Liv in the face, and there's no build up to what made the original Scream was the group of kids, and I just don't think the teens in this felt generic. And you don't get enough time with Amber, and oh, she's one of the killers, by the way. Okay, and it's obvious because Mikey Madison was, if you watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, she was one of the Manson girls that tried to break in and that ends up getting fucked up in the end. So it's just like, it was obvious from that. She looks crazy, kind of. Like, so you're just doing Jill again, because I'm going to get to the motive in a second. Sydney and Gail arrive. Amber's feigning like she got attacked, but they don't believe her. Amber ends up shooting Gail by accident. Well, not by accident, but ends up shooting Gail. Sydney follows. We get the only scene where we get a call from her and Ghostface. It's so disappointing because what makes these movies is Sydney and Ghostface's conversation. No matter who's in the costume, what makes those movies is that conversation, and we didn't get any of that in this. We just got that one scene, and Sydney's like, "I'm bored," and I get they're trying to say she's tired and she's just so used to it, but come on, man. You gotta make it more riveting than that. And that's like the only time we get that scene. Hold on. Imagine if there was a scene where, like, maybe she was at home and she gets a call from Ghostface there. That would have been cool. But no, we don't get anything like that. No. We get this one scene. Then she finds Richie and she doesn't trust him, ends up accidentally shooting him. Ghostface attacks her, and this is where it's revealed that Richie is one of the killers because he stabs Sam. And this is where we get to the worst reveal in the franchise. Let me take a hit before I go on this. It is fucking bad. It is so bad because their whole reason was because they got tired. They wanted a new story adapted and they got tired of being seen as the toxic fandom. What the fuck? Why did you go this direction? Wes Craven would not have did this, and I'm gonna be honest, they kind of already did this already. You literally just this movie is derivative. You just did what this killer's like a these killers are a mix of Jill, Mickey from Scream 2, and Roman from 3. It just you're just doing them all in a blender. Are you fucking serious? Because they got tired of being seen as toxic fans? They literally used the word toxic fandom. Like that's a fucking buzzword. Ugh. Why the fuck? So it's almost like basically saying fuck you to the fans. So because we care about something, we're gonna stab people now. Okay. Anyway, let me just fucking finish this fucking movie. So while they go on their spiel, they realize Tara's out because there's a scene before they see her tied up. Then Sydney and Gale overpower Amber. I'll admit, Amber getting thrown on set on fire was kind of cool because it's a callback to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And while Richie deals with Sam, and then this is where we get one of the cringiest scenes where Sam is getting choked by Richie, and she's looking and she sees Billy, and Billy looks over at the knife. She grabs the knife and mercilessly stabs him. Like I'll admit, this was cool where she stabs him like crazy. And maybe this could be a next plot point for the next film, but I almost don't care because they went this fucking direction. And that's really it. She kills him, and then Gail mentions she's not going to write another book about murders, but she's going to write a book about Dewey. I don't fucking... This movie is so disappointing. This film could have been really fucking good. And they went this toxic fandom direction. So we're going to kill people now? And it was so on the nose. Because, they mentioned Mary Sue. Wonder where they got that from. I was so disappointed. And I'm more if anything, how did Billy have a daughter? An illegitimate daughter out of nowhere? Now, that doesn't make sense. So on that front, this film isn't canon. To me, 4 is the end. This is like some fan film of what someone would have done with Scream 5. That's just how I see it. There's some cool kills in here, but there's some cool Ghostface voice moments, but it's so disappointing. There's no character development with any of the new characters. Recently, Cobra Kai just came out, and there's so much character development in 4 seasons, but this movie can't do it in 2 hours when Scream has always been about character development. This movie really was fucking disappointing. Why was Neve Campbell in this movie? You could have easily cut her out. The toxic fandom thing again. Why the fuck did you go there? Wes Craven would not have done that. And Billy looking up the knife was some PBS, some PBS kid shit. Some kid show shit. There's the knife, Why the fuck would you do that? I despise. I'm borderline despise this movie. This movie, I would have rather this is what we wait 11 years since Scream 4 for. Nah, I'm cool with just Scream 4 being it if this is what you're gonna give me. I might watch Scream 6 if it happens, and I think it will because it's doing pretty well in the box office right now. So I'll check it out, but there's no hype there. This really brought it down for me. This is my I joked in when I was in the chat in Mara's stream that my updated ranking is gonna be easy as fuck now, and it will be. So yeah, really disappointed. There's some decent moments, but nah, it's a no for me, dog. So I'm gonna take one more hit, and yeah. They really went that fucking direction. Yeah, they jumped the shark. That's what they... Shit. Sorry. But anyway. Tomorrow I'm going to be reviewing Super Cop. And yeah, that's pretty much my plans for the next day. But other than that, fuck this movie. Fuck Warner Brothers. Fuck Disney. Fuck LaBitch James. Fuck Seth Rogen. Fuck Joy Reid. And fuck the Biden administration. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. This movie is a 5 out of 10. Peace!